I'm here to reveal my soul tonight and my identity. Yes, I have come to know myself quite well, and I now know, near the latter part of my life, that I have a latent desire to not only attain, but remain in altered states of consciousness. Yes, but I believe that has been a benefit. Yes, so tonight, here, I'm going to tell you the truth of my soul and my identity. Yes, it is me. Yes, your savior. Oh, this itches. Damn stuff. Yes, but I had a vision last night while I was watching the cool programs on TV that just literally, go right into your brain. Anyway, I must give accolades to the guys that produce commercials and try to keep it interesting. Yeah, and it's so hard to come up with something new, but last night, let me tell you my vision. Yes, I saw a commercial for the first time about the coolest, neatest, newest wireless, apps-rich device that is a must-have at any cost. Yes. Oh, and let me tell you how they marketed this device. It was a father and son moment. Yes, which I can somewhat relate to in my memories. Anyway, they were out camping in the woods, and the father was showing his young son all of the beauties of nature and how they can be enhanced by this cool little device. Yes, and it was a father and son moment that just captures you right here. Anyway, they end the commercial by having the father come out of the tent and pour the coffee onto the dying campfire, and they back up a bit and take a larger shot from the air, and they're camping in their backyard. Now, I promise you, you vote for me, and each and every one of you will be able to have a life like that. It'll be a never-ending source of prosperity. Oh, there are so many resources out there yet to be exploited. And yeah, if you just read Freakonomics, hell, he's got the solution to global warming. God, get on with it. Shit. Oh, you know who to vote for, man. Yeah, you vote for me. Yeah. Yeah. Me. I'm Joseph Smith. But now, this is a double whammy here, because now my true identity comes out, because I will now show you the last 10 seconds of that commercial that you didn't see. Yes. No. Oh, glad to get that off. You didn't see the shot going more like to a Google Earth kind of shot. Not real quick though, go up slowly. And you can see that their backyard was in a beautiful home, surrounded by other homes that were on many cul-de-sacs, and then many larger streets going into boulevards. And this was a 1,000-unit development, but it was right next to another development. Next to another development. And, you back up far enough,
and maybe you finally see some bare earth, you know, with some fucking fracking devices on it. So that's my big entrance, my Johnny Carson moment. But let me get on to the subject at hand. Yes. Now, I hope I have all the theatrics correct. Got my notes down here. So, if I have a senior moment, what I need to do was check off the list. Watch note. Notation? Was that the movie? Oh, oh, God. It's becoming more prevalent. But, oh, God, that's to the max. So, anyway, I want to review with you, my life in relation to altered states of consciousness. Yes, I do. And, damn, I can't read from here. Yes, I already told you I have a predisposition. Yes, okay. Let me get my notes up closer. Yes. So, Uma. Excuse me, I have some water here, too. Yeah. So, good light, at least. Yeah, so, normal childhood. Went from Compton to Southgate. They were both heavily urbanized, very few vacant lots, but a pleasant childhood. Never heard of drugs. Of course, I think it was probably in the area, and I didn't realize, like, Frankie Lyman, one of my, favorite guys, was onto the heavy stuff very quickly, and sunk down, as many of my other idols live fast, die young. So, but I've always been a very rational kind of person. So, I wanted to get to my first experience. Yeah, my first experience wasn't until 1956. And I was 12 years old. We were living in La Mirada. And we had just moved to a new development of about 1,000 homes. There were 8 basic models, and we were the second owner. The first couple had it for less than a year and divorced, as I think was quite common. A long street, many young families, many young kids. To make money, I would ride my bike with newspaper bags on it, and I would go around to the construction sites. They had these big, carry-all, big equipment, bulldozers. I mean, a lot of heavy equipment. And I don't know, I didn't see the equipment, but all the stuff that they left, which was as office and trucks and stuff, they would have in a circled area. So I got to speed it up. So anyway, I would go around to these construction sites and collect pop bottles. And for the 8 ounce, 2 cents. For the 16 ounce, 3 cents. And that was how I made some money. And anyway, I'd gone through the construction site and picked up what pop bottles I found, but there were quite a few inside this fenced-in yard, and it was a very shabby 8-foot, I believe it was 8-foot chain link fence, but nothing on top. So it was very hard to get over. I threw all the pop bottles out, and then to get back out, I didn't want to go through that again. I was afraid, because it wasn't supported on the top, that I might get hooked on the top of my clothes. So there was a cab there, had two construction trucks, and I think I've been watching too many Roadrunner cartoons. Anyway, I thought if I would swing, as a guy on a lift, and I would then go over the fence and land on my feet. Well, I did get over the fence, but you don't straighten back out. And I landed back like this, and I broke my elbow and my wrist, and I could see a big bump on my elbow. So that was my first true experience with mortality. And I was about a mile from home on my bike, and I remember riding home with one arm coming on. Anyway, speed up the program here. Went to our family doctor. He set my arm. They put me in the hospital. They X-rayed it the next day, and he had an expert come in and check the X-ray. And the expert was concerned about the elbow. So anyway, they operated, put a pin in the elbow. And you know, in the surgery, they lift this, so they cut it off here. They if I took off all my clothes, not all my clothes, my shirt, you would see a incision scar about this long. I was very sensitive about that afterwards. But anyway, so a big pin went through my elbow, and after surgery, my arm was swollen so much that it was just like a balloon going into this small cast. So I don't think they asked me. I think they just gave me what they called at the time a hypodermic, a hypo. And I'm sure it was morphine. I just remember how painful, how tight the arm was, and I was concerned I wouldn't be able to sleep, and you had to lay on your back. So anyway, couldn't move. So that was I still remember that. Yeah, that was like the warmest feeling inside, and just laying there in pure bliss. I mean, what a change from what it was before. And unfortunately, I think I did go to sleep, and I was in the hospital for 7 days. And the next night, the swelling had started to go down. And I don't know if they asked or I asked them, but they said, "Are you in pain?" Oh yeah, I'm in pain. Oh yeah, I need. They didn't give it to me. So that was my first experience. Yeah, to drug. I don't think I ever thought about drugs. Anyway, let's see what my next topic is. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to switch to alcohol. And my parents enjoyed social drinking, yes, and it was never any problem for my mother, but my father really enjoyed it. And through his life, he experienced a lot of association with alcoholics, and he could see the consequences of that. And in fact, he went in partnership with someone who was an alcoholic, and it caused their financial collapse. So. And he was worried that he might slide down the slippery slope, so he kept it social, and he was concerned for us too. So I think he took a very good approach with my sister and I, and that was to expose us to alcohol. And when we would be there when they were drinking, he would fix us a mild drink and socialize. So he got to he wanted to start that because he felt that if something is completely taboo, then it becomes like polarized, and it's easy to jump from one side to the other. So I think that was a very good influence. And then the next topic that I wanted to say was in high school. Nothing in junior college. Junior high school. There was junior high school then. And in high school, I started running around with friends, and when we started to get cars, that's when we started to drink. We did a little drinking before we had cars. In fact, I can remember a couple of times. It was country club malt liquor. Yeah, I got quite drunk there. I think I threw up. And then it became wine, and it became the La Mirada Drive-In, and I think $2 for a car, no matter how many people. And you bring in it would be what's the word? Thunderbird. What's the price? Paradise. Now that would be about 59 cents for a fifth of Thunderbird. And it became so popular that then there became, I remember the names, Golden Spur. Then there was a sweet kind of drink, Bally High, and Silver Satin. Yeah, so most of them were white wines. And I can remember maybe at least 3 or 4 occasions at the La Mirada Drive-In drinking too much wine and getting sick, usually throwing up. And I would get in this condition of, you know, I didn't want to throw up and get nauseous, and I was sort of dizzy. But when I would close my eyes, I would get even more dizzy. So there was no... So, long story short, alcohol has never been a problem with me. I enjoy the taste of beer. You know, I don't enjoy feeling inebriated or feeling the effects of alcohol. I feel a loss of, um, you know, it's an impediment rather than an experience. So, alcohol you can forget. Where am I going next here? Let me get my notes here. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and smoking too. It was the father never told me, said much about smoking. Smoking wasn't really understood to be too bad for you. In fact, both of my parents smoked. He smoked Kent's and she smoked L&M. So they did smoke lighter cigarettes. And it was just, in high school, it was just, you know, the cool thing to get away and go behind the gym and smoke. And it became, I went for Lucky Strikes unfiltered, yeah. And I can still remember how good it tasted, because when I did, you would have to take a quick inhale. I remember we would smoke out on the field too. Take a quick inhale and deep and hold it in, and you know, it really and if you smoke, you know how the consequences of tobacco. But anyway, my parents found out, and then I began to smoke in the open. But honestly, once I think the taboo wore off, I slowed down, and I even went to Marlboro. And then in junior college, I stopped, and I guess it just started drying out my throat too much. I switched to a pipe, yeah, and I enjoyed a pipe. In fact, my father bought me a pipe one time, K. Woody, yes, and I had several pipes, and I enjoyed smoking a pipe, but that takes a lot of attention. You can't really, you know, when you see somebody smoking a pipe, it has to be a big one, and it always went out with me. So I would just smoke a pipe in pleasure. So I wanted to get on beyond that, though. So really, that was it. In high school, I jumped forward all the way to, I went to Cerritos College, a 2-year junior college. Gee, all I had to do was pay for the books. And I worked and saved some money, and my parents helped too, and I transferred my credits to the University of Hawaii. This was in '64. And I stayed in the dormitory for the first 3 semesters, and then I shared an apartment with a friend. But anyway, to get back to, we had an experience. Now, there was 2 humorous experiences. We sort of had a esprit de corps in our dorm and in our wing, and we organized a, wasn't really a toga party. I just had these neat sandals that strapped up to the knees. And one guy had shaved half of his beard off, I remember. So everyone everyone had to do something weird. Mine was my sandals. And we bought a keg of Michelob beer. My roommate was Irish. He was a football hero from high school. He was overweight. He liked to smoke cigars. He loved drinking. And Michelob was like the best stuff. Anyway, I had some drinking contests. Somebody was taking pictures there too, where I was chugging. More was going down my front, but I got so drunk there, I went out. It was an apartment, 2nd floor, outside rail, and just heaved right over, and got a picture of it, and went down 1st floor. So that was a. And what happened? Yeah, on the same night, I think. Yes, yeah. We were going back. Yeah, and we were robbing around in front of the dorm. And this one guy I was with, who was as drunk as I, he went and got his bow and arrows. And we were like marching around like Indians in the front, you know, way late at night. And he threw up his quivers, and one of the arrows came down and it stuck me right in the leg, and I had to go to the dispensary and get stitches there. And I told them some cock and bull story. Hell, that sure sobered me up. But fortunately, they didn't push the point. And anyway, it was nice because you had that service there as part of the, I guess, part of the dormitory. And anyway, the second experience is funny looking back on it, but it certainly could have been tragic. And this is where, you know, the inexperience of youth can, you know, whew, like jumping over the fence. Sober you up. Anyway, my roommate, Butch Butler, you know, who liked to drink and smoke cigars. Anyway, one night he wanted to take a break, so we went and bought 1 or 2 6-packs of beer. And if you know Hawaii at all, and the University of Hawaii, it's at the mouth of Manoa Valley, and there are, you know, mountains that come out to either side. Anyway, if you're looking into the valley, Manoa, on the left is a Tantalus Round Top Drive, and basically there's a very nice drive that goes up around, and there's several lookout points, and then comes back down the other side over by the Punch Bowl. I believe that right. And anyway, so we drove. We're all familiar with this area, and I was the guy with the car. So, and this was a Fiat 600, and they're coming back here, United States, similar, yeah. So it was a very small car. So anyway, we drove up to the highest lookout, and there they had a hut on the very at the top of the lookout, and a walkway. And to keep the cars from going, they had posts. But my car was so small, and nobody was there. This was, you know, maybe 10 o'clock at night. No, it was earlier. No, it was just turning evening. And oh, excuse me. So I drove in between the post and actually drove beyond the hut. And what was beyond the hut was basically like a lawn that just went ever and ever more sloping down into trees. But they kept the cap of it mowed. So we just drove in front of the hut and just parked there and drank our beer, and we watched the sunset. And one thing I didn't get terribly drunk. It was and I don't know if Butch did either. He just enjoyed drinking and smoking his cigar and talking. And we were good friends. And what I remember is when it turned dark. I don't know if this is the first time I saw it, but I would notice this whenever you have a lookout. This is interesting. The closer lights don't twinkle, but there's a point at which they begin to twinkle. And I've just found that very interesting. But anyway, we talked and drank our beer, and I don't know how long we were there, at least an hour, maybe 2, and it was then night, and we were ready to go on back home. So yeah, I started the car, and we were pointed out this way, put it in reverse, and the dew had started to settle on the lawn, and I had no traction. And the Fiat 600, you're not familiar with it, it has these, they call it suicide doors. They open this way. So if they ever opened when you were traveling, you know, the wind would just knock them over. So Butch got out, and I mean, at first we just opened the door, and we tried to push with our foot while I was pushing the gas, and we still weren't getting traction. And then Butch got out and got in front of it and tried to push it, and actually we started to lose it. And if we go further, I mean, it's the slippery slope. You know, there's a point at which, you know, you got to bail from the car, and it's gonna go. And we both, went into panic mode. So, but finally, with Butch pushing from the front, and me, I was actually standing. I was able to stand out of the car and give quite a heave with my foot. Anyway, we made it back. So that's another experience. But let me get on to more serious stuff. Yeah. So time went by. First semester. Okay. And no. You see, this would have been the second year. Yeah, no exposure or thought of drugs. I get, and I don't know if I'm naive here. In fact, let me make a sidelight here. I'll make this a very long story. Yeah. I was first exposed to the first gay bar. I never thought of homosexual sex has never been a big deal to me, and people, if people, if it's really that important to them, I mean, everything is impermanent, and you can't stay there. So anyway, getting back to the point. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I was giving a sidelight here. Oh yeah, Yappies. So. Kapahulu Boulevard, that's Yappies, and it was a mainly transvestite bar. And the great fun there was because the transvestites couldn't go into the women's restroom and they couldn't go into the men's restroom. So in order to take a leak, they would come out of Yappies, and it was next to a vacant lot. And then they would walk around to the back of Yappies and do their business and come back. And so this was the big, everyone, woo woo. And if you're driving by, if anybody was out there, you always. And honestly, I thought, when I first learned of transvestites, I thought that they were, insane, psychotic. What I thought the schizophrenic, I thought of the classic split the personality. But yeah, I thought that they were crazy. So it took me a while to get exposed to the reality of, most of the world. So anyway, getting back to the point is, yeah, so out of clear blue sky, this was when a junior in college now. So this would have been probably 64, 65. Yeah, one of my friends, he had moved in an apartment with other guys, and there were 3 guys sharing there. I knew all of them. And one guy came up with what was a lid of marijuana or pot. And, this is the first time I'd ever been, ever sitting anything close. So anyway, we went to their apartment. Yeah, this is a good story. I'll make this long. This is gonna be a very long tape. You'll have a lot to edit from. So yeah, I remember very clearly. There were 4 of us. They say, yeah, wow, yeah, 4. Yeah, 4, maybe 5. And we were all sitting around this table. I think there were 5 because there were 2 here and 1 here. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I can remember passing the joint around, and he actually had it in a tin, in a lid. In a lid, it was in. I think that's how the lid got its name. It was like a tobacco tin. They were long and narrow. And anyway, it really hit me. I mean, it really hit my mind, and trying to communicate with the other guys, because it's like, I'm on my cloud and he's on his cloud, and you're trying to communicate, and you're all in different worlds. Anyway, we all got quite ripped, shall we say, and we were on Kapiolani. Yeah. It's right by the Macaulay Bridge over the Alawai Canal. And then just over there is Waikiki and all the fun places. So anyway, they all, more they than me, decide, well, let's go to Waikiki. So, and we're just walking here. It's just a short ways. So we start walking out, and we go down Kapiolani and turn left over the Alawai Canal, Macaulay Bridge. There was everybody's supermarket right next there. And I'd never been trained. In fact, don't let me lose my attention here. Yeah, my father never said anything about drugs. It was mentioned in health. I remember that, but it was more just an objective topic. But the funny story is my father and sex education, they had sex education too in health. But anyway, we were going out of the checkout of the supermarket stand, and my father was filling my mother's shopping list. She was very organized, as I. And on the list was a box of Kotex, and so he put it, you know, he was putting stuff down, and when he lifted it up, he looked at me and said, "Do you know what this is for?" And I at the time did. Yes, I did. So I said, yes, yes. And that was my sex education. So anyway, getting back to my Puritan Christian Protestant WASP upbringing, you know, me is starting to think, hey, you know, there might be something wrong with smoking dope. And I remember Pinocchio, and I remember how he was lured, as were many other children, to this nasty, nasty island, I believe it was, where they are all held captive and made to do dirty and nasty things. So I'm thinking these guys are luring me over to Waikiki, and that is wrong. So and the you know, you have to draw a line in the sand, and the line of demarcation to me was right in the middle of the Alawai Canal. So halfway across the Macaulay Bridge, I decide that I'm not going any further. That's it. This is you're taking. This is some nasty plot here to make me fall into a deeper and deeper abyss. So I stop, and, you know, and I'm hoping that they stop too. But no, they're all interacting. Hey, come on. Wait a second, they go on. So me by myself there now, still stoned. No, what what do I do now? So I decide, well, of course I'll go back to the apartment, and anyway, yeah, I go back to the apartment. It was just a short ways, and you know, I didn't know if they had locked the door or not. So, and nobody was home because that was, you know, everybody had left. So the first really strange thing I remember is when I tried to open the door, I couldn't tell whether the door was locked or I wasn't turning my hand, and that's why it wasn't moving. And I don't remember how I figured that out. And I don't remember even if I got in or not. But what I remember next is I had this second epiphany, which was, if you know Waikiki and the Alawai Canal, it starts there in Ala Moana, bends around, comes around by that golf course behind Waikiki. It's the, you know, border between Waikiki and the golf course. But it terminates to nowhere, right at Kapahulu. And so I figure that if I don't cross the Alawai Canal, I walk around it all the way to and this was a much longer walk, then I would, you know, be okay. I would have my safety shield on. I could do anything and not be sucked in by any dirty, nasty things. So anyway, by the time I walk around there, I start sobering up. And by the time I join them, they're heavily into drinking and off into another trip. So that was pretty much it for my first experience. And so you got to realize that's a junior in college before any direct exposure. And really saw no homosexuality. I'm sure it was there, but in Hawaii, yes. And I come to dislike homosexuals initially after I realized they weren't crazy. In fact, there were two other gay bars, and later on I drove taxi, and I drove many to the Clouds is one. That was the second in Waikiki, right across from the zoo. And then down on Hotel Street, there was the Glades. In fact, we went there with my sister and my girlfriend and my roommate, and we saw Prince Hanley do his fabulous dance there. And as the highlight of the night, the crescendo was he lit 2 flaming pom-poms on fire, each one which was attached to one of his cheeks. And he was able to make them, and they turned out the lights, and he was able to make them go around like that. So anyway, it started to, be exposed to reality. But anyway, let me get back to the point, and that is, so anyway, after that, I was very interested, in more, of course. But there was really virtually none. So I had very few future experiences because it just wasn't around. And I didn't hang out with druggies. I basically was with students. So, and I wanted to graduate. I mean, I had a commitment. This is my money and my parents' money. And actually, I went there because my friend went the earlier year, and we went there because we were surfers. And he had flunked out. He just, he just took the party. I guess it happens quite often. And I being diligent, I didn't want to flunk out. But and I didn't have that much money. But anyway, but when we did have it, and whenever I got my own little stash, I was very sensitive to marijuana. I could just take a few small leaves, and this is what I would usually do because I end up usually smoking by myself. Just a few small leaves and a paper, and just one puff, and I could feel it, for a couple hours. So, and when you're just that light, and there's diminishing returns, I might say, that I'm getting very warm here with all these lights on. Let me take off my coat. Oh, I can show you my scar. Oh, yes. I'll show it to you up close here. I don't have my pen anymore. I gave that to my niece. It is a highly valued item, I'm sure, that cherish. Oh, this is been a long time since I put on a coat and tie. There. Well, anyway, right here is where the pen, it actually stuck out, and the incision goes from here to here. And to take out that pen, they actually didn't give me anesthetics. It was very short. And they just attached a hand drill to it, and they just reversed it out as one doctor held his hand, and oh, that was terrible. There's my nose back. Ha! No more senior moments. I am prepared. I'll know my song well before I start singing. I wish I could have written like that. I wish I wrote that. I remember Stephen Stills. Yeah, he was, thought it was a program about Dylan, and he was talking about Dylan's lyric in Tabourine to take the tangerine, no, not tangerine sky. Oh, the diamond, to dance beneath the diamond sky with one hand waving free. Stephen Stills said, damn, wish I would have written